Once a month, when the moon reaches its highest point in the sky and the wild creatures call out to the night, he emerges from a private sanctuary in an undisclosed location outside of Little Rock, Arkansas. Arrayed in his priestly vestments, carrying forth the good news that comic books and graphic novels aren't just for kids, that they aren't just mass and spandex superheroes, that storytelling in a graphic format can be so much more. He is the graphic novel apostle.
Hello and welcome to the Graphic Novel Apostle podcast. I'm your host, Mark Orenberger. I am so happy to be here with you as always, and we have a special episode today. This is going to be something a little bit different than we have ever done before. I don't have one guest with me on the show today. I have 5. And maybe even if you add all their ages together, they might not even add up to some of the guests that I've had on the show, like Michael Crump. So let's go through and introduce the folks who are going to be here today. First, we've got my friend, Van Boren. Van, you want to say hello?
Hi, my name is Van.
All right, next we've got Gracie Pollard.
Hi, I'm Gracie.
And Gracie is the daughter of Parrish Pollard, who has been a previous guest on the show. Parrish came on and we covered in a book club episode the book Bone Parrish by Colin Bunn and Jonas Scharf. Next, we have Gillian Boren. Gillian, do you want to say hi?
Hi, my name is Gillian.
And Gillian, how old are you?
6 3/4.
And you're in the first grade?
Mm-hmm.
And Gracie, you are 10 and you're in the 4th grade?
Yep.
And then we've got Van, who is 9 3/4, right, Van?
Yeah.
Also in 4th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Next, let's introduce Grant.
I'm Grant.
This is Grant Boren, the third Boren sibling, or maybe the first Boren sibling, right? You're 12 and in the 6th grade. And then I've got my son, Garrett Orenberger, who's going to join us as well. Garrett is 10 and in the 4th grade. Garrett, how are you, buddy?
Good.
Good. I am so happy that all of you guys are here with us today. We are going to talk about Dogman. And I should say this, we talked about Van and Grant and Gillian Boren, and on our next episode, their dad, Seth Boren, is going to be my guest on the show. We've already recorded our episode, and we are going to be discussing the book Moonshine by Brian Azzarello with art by Eduardo Riso. But today, we are here to talk about Dogman. Now, we're not going to discuss just any one book from Dogman. We're going to talk about just Dogman in general, because there are, by my count, 13 books in the Dogman series. And I know some of you guys are going to tell me that you've read either all of them or just about all of them. And then we are going to go see the Dogman movie after we're done recording. So let's say this. Who here at this table is excited to go see the Dogman movie?
Me.
Garrett, please do not shout into the microphone, okay? All right, so I think that's a unanimous 100% everybody's excited. Who all here has been a long-time fan of Dogman?
Me. I have.
Yeah? Everybody here. Now, this question is for the older kids, Gracie, Van, Grant, and Garrett. Have you guys pretty much read all of the Dogman books?
Almost all of them.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
All but one.
That's the brand new one that just came out?
Yes, the Jim joined the team or whatever it's called.
Okay. And so that newest book just came out at Christmas time, right? It's called Big Jim Begins.
Yep.
Has anybody here at the table read that one?
Nope.
No, nobody has. And Gillian, you have not previously read a lot of the Dogman books, but this morning you went through and looked at several of them, right?
Yeah, and read some words in it.
You did. You read some of the words in the Dogman.
Kind of skimmed through.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay. So guys, obviously we haven't seen the movie yet, and so we're not going to spoil the movie, and we're not even actually really going to discuss any one book in the Dogman series in particular. But what we're going to do instead is just talk about who Dogman is and the world of Dogman. To get us started, why don't I ask my friend Van here to tell me just a little bit about who Dogman is and his origin story. Now, before you go, let me say this. This, I know, is going to be in the Dogman movie because his origin story is in the trailer. I don't think that's really spoiling too much for anybody. So, Van, go ahead. Tell us about where Dogman came from.
So, really, where he came from? Well, there was a cop. He was a good cop, and there was his dog. And they got hurt in an explosion, and they had to rush to the hospital. And the nurse lady had a good idea, since the cop's body was dying. The cop's head was dying, and the dog's body was dying. So they sewed the dog's head onto the cop's body, which pretty much created Dogman.
That's right. And so if you look carefully at the drawing of Dogman, you can see where his neck and his body connect. There are several like little lines, and those are, I guess, the stitches that the doctor did to hold them on, right?
Oh, yeah.
So Dogman is a police officer, and he had experience as a police officer dog and as a police officer man when he was two people, and now he is a man with a dog's head. And what does Dogman, why don't I get Gracie to help me with this? Gracie, what does Dogman act like most of the time?
Dogman, well, acts like a regular dog, but he acts like a dog, but he sometimes acts like, I feel like he acts sometimes like a normal person and sometimes like a dog.
So we've got a dog head on Dogman. Whose brain do you think that's controlling things?
The dog's brain.
Oh, yeah? And what types of things, knowing that we've got a dog brain in there, what types of things does Dogman do that make you think, yeah, there's still a lot of dog controlling what's going on here?
Well, he still loves chasing balls and hates baths.
Well, one of the other things, his boss at the police station is who?
Chief.
Chief. Yeah, and any of you guys jump in on this. Okay, so he works at the police station and his boss is chief. And what is the relationship between boss and chief like?
Well, Dogman sometimes busts in and starts like jumping on Chief and licking his face and things like that. The dogs do.
That's true.
Happens
Dogman.
to me a lot.
Yep. Who wants to tell me a little bit about Harold and George, two of the characters who they sort of help us tell the story of Dogman, right? Van, do you want to do that? I'm sorry, Grant, do you want to do that?
Sure.
So who are Harold and George?
They're like the creators of the actual comic.
Yeah, and I should say this. So the Dogman books are written and drawn by a real-life person named Dav Pilkey. But within the world of Dogman, we've got two boys who in the very first book are in 4th grade, and they are best friends. And I guess they get a little older as the series goes on as well. But they are really imaginative kids, and they like to create comic books together. And have any of you kids done that? Drawn your own comics?
I'm working on it right now.
Sort of when I was like in 1st and 2nd grade.
Okay.
Me and Grant have tried to make one, but I don't know where that went, and we could find it probably.
Okay. And Grant, you're working on one right now, did you say?
That was
Oh, that was Van
Yeah,
who
that
said
was
that.
me.
Tell me what kind of comic you're working on right now, if you're willing to disclose those details.
Yeah, it's called The Master Blade. It's about a regular kid. Well, I haven't really completely formed it yet,
Okay.
but I know it's gonna be about a kid who falls into like a black hole and is teleported to a different realm and has to defend the land from demons and destroy the Demon King.
Wow, awesome. And are you going to draw that yourself?
Yeah.
Very,
I'm doing
very
it
cool.
all by myself.
Well, and Harold and George are kids who really like to make their own comics, and they make the Dogman comics that we read. And so we're introduced to them right in the book itself. By the way, were any of you guys fans of Captain Underpants? Because I understand that, Dav Pilkey, the real-life writer and illustrator, prior to the first Dogman book, had done the Captain Underpants series, and Dogman was actually first introduced in a Captain Underpants book. Did you guys know that?
No.
I didn't.
I didn't
It was?
but I think we have one Captain Underpants book.
Yeah. we
You do?
have one.
I sort of am into it. Not really. I mean,
Captain Underpants is not your favorite thing.
I didn't really grow up with it like I did with Dogman.
Well, let's talk about that
I'd rather
too.
have something that has less potty humor.
Oh, too much potty humor for you in Captain Underpants? Hey, fair enough.
I mean, I'm just saying.
No, that's fair. And I'll tell you what,
Putting it out there.
no matter how popular Captain Underpants ever was, there is no question the most popular kids' books, actually, guys, in the whole world, are the Dogman books. The publication Forbes reported in January of 2024 that the series had sold over 60 million books at that point. And I should say that, of course, 2 books have come out since then, and the movie that's being released this weekend. And Screen Rant, another online publication, reported via Popverse that Dogman has become the best-selling children's book in the world.
Wow.
And it seems like usually if you look at the book sales, not just graphic novels, not just kids' books, but overall book sales on the week that a new Dogman book comes out, by now, almost always that's the number one book in the world for that particular week in sales, which is huge.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure.
Crazy. Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
I don't think anyone here did.
Well, okay, so we've talked about Harold and George, who are the in-story creators of Dogman. We've talked about where Dogman comes from, and we've talked about Chief. Now, I want to talk about a character called Petey. Garrett, can you tell me about Petey?
Well, he's this, like, evil cat that is trying to, like, take over the world and stuff. And he keeps on coming up with inventions and, like, became Dogman's arch nemesis, and he keeps failing.
And no matter how many Dogman books come out, it seems like Petey is always involved in whatever plot is going on in the city. Is that true?
Yep.
And it also seems like they have a real problem in the city that Dogman lives in, keeping Petey in jail. He seems to be a pretty good escape artist.
Pretty much.
Okay. And Gracie, can you tell me about who Little Petey is?
Yes, Little Petey is Petey's clone that he made. He made a clone, or Petey made a clone called Little Petey to, help him take over the world. But Little Petey is not evil like he is. Little Petey is a very good little cat that also has a couple books that they're leading in. They have like a little cat kid comic club, and Little Petey is also a superhero along with Dogman.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. Little Petey sometimes puts on a mask and becomes a superhero in his own right. And what is his name when he is being a superhero?
Cat Kid.
Okay, and so the Cat Kid Comic Club books are a spin-off series of books separate from Dogman, where Cat Kid, and Garrett was telling me of this in the car on the drive over here. I actually didn't think I realized this, but those books are Cat Kid making his own comics. Is that right?
Yep.
About a whole different series of characters, and the art is a little different in those books too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He's got I think he has a bunch of frogs that do comics with him too.
Yes, that's right. Now, can somebody tell me about a reporter named Sarah Hadoff? Who is she? And anybody can jump in on this.
I'll do it.
She does a whole bunch of reporting stuff.
Yeah, she's pretty friendly with Dogman too, right? So that's good. Dogman gets good publicity from Sarah Hadoff following him around on his different adventures, and she's a pretty good friend. Now, what about Flippy the Fish? Who is this?
Can I do it?
Go ahead.
So Flippy the Fish was originally a fish who got super angry from super brain dods, which are like stuff that's supposed to help you remember things.
Okay.
And he died. I remember him dying, but he ended up coming back because they replaced all of his broken bones and things with bionic iron and things.
So he's like Wolverine then?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. And is Flippy a good guy or a bad guy?
Well, he's kind of both, but before he turned good, he was bad, and then he turned good.
Okay. Now I want to talk about ADHD, which is also known as 80 Hexotron Droid Formigon, I think is how you would pronounce it, but that's shortened to ADHD. Who can tell me about who this character is?
I can tell.
Yeah, Grant, please.
So he's Little Petey's robot he made. He just helps him with all the stuff that he needs to do. Helps him invent stuff.
Okay. Now, but Little Petey didn't originally invent ADHD, did he?
I don't think so.
Yeah, Garrett, you were telling me about this. ADHD was originally one of Petey's creations, right?
I'm pretty sure, yes. It's been a little while since I've read any of the books, though.
Oh, okay.
Pretty sure I saw a picture. I remember seeing a picture of it where Petey is fixing it.
Okay.
Or building it.
Yeah, I think, and guys, maybe I get this wrong too. If I do, forgive me. But I think my memory is that originally Petey was trying to build ADHD to be his evil robot, but ended up not doing the things that Petey wanted and not really carrying out the plots of evil.
Pretty sure that is what happened.
Yeah.
I think so too.
And then he came to hang out with Little Petey, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he sort of became Little Petey's robot after that. Well, guys, I'm doing a lot of talking here, and we've just talked about characters. Tell me about some of the things that are best about Dogman. Why would somebody like this character or these books?
I like the fairy in it, where it's like the show, and then she like stomps on the toys, and it's really funny.
Okay, the fairy.
It's book Fetch 22.
Yeah.
Oh, this is in the book Fetch 22. Yeah, and so many of the Dogman books have really fun names that are based on actual literature books. And let me run through some of those titles. We've got Dogman, A Tale of Two Kitties, Dogman, Lord of the Fleas, Dogman, Brawl of the Wild, Dogman, For Whom the Ball Rolls, Dogman, Fetch 22. We've got Dogman, Grime and Punishment, Dogman, Mothering Heights, Dogman, 20,000 Fleas Under the Sea, and Dogman, the Scarlet Shredder, which are all based on names of actual important books of literature, which is kind of fun too. Which of those that you guys remember was some of the best books?
I think Fetch 22 was a good one.
I think Mothering Heights.
You do?
Fetch
Grime and
22.
Punishment was good.
I
Grime
think
and
Fetch-
Punishment was good too.
I think Fetch 22 is a good one.
Okay. Who wants to tell me just about like some of the adventures that Cat Kid and Dogman have gotten up to?
For instance, I think this was in Whom the Ball Roams. I remember there was this evil scientist. Dogman was trying to like become more obedient and learn not to like chase balls and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But he was originally making like robo-crabs to get rid of Dogman, but then he learned that he was like afraid of balls now. And he turned the crabs into balls and kind of like Pac-Man, and they like chomped and stuff.
Okay.
I remember there was like, I think it was a bee, but I think it was like a rat or something, but it kept like eating them, and it kind of started to look like a caterpillar,
Mm-hmm.
and it like blowed up or something, and it kind of morphed into a butterfly. I think that's what happened.
Cool. Who else remembers one of Dogman's adventures? Grant, go ahead.
I remember there was that one, don't remember who did it, but somebody created all those little hot dog robots and they tried to attack him.
Okay. Was Petey behind this?
Probably.
So there were hot dog robots. Garrett, do you remember about that? You were starting to put your hand up.
No, but I do remember this other one that the hot dog robot things reminded me of.
Okay, tell me about that, and then we'll go back to the hot dog robots.
I don't remember who did this or whatever, but it was like someone like dipped some buildings in some radioactive liquid or something, and they like came to life, and they were like, one of us.
That was Flippy, right?
I think Flippy did have something to do with that. I remember Garrett and I read that book together, and I do remember those buildings running down the street saying like, ooga booga, one of us. And weren't just a second, Gillian, weren't the hot dog robots in that one too?
I think so.
No, I think that was a separate book.
Oh, you think it was?
I don't remember any buff buildings running around the street saying ooga booga, one of us.
Yeah, there's always some wild technology. Gillian, you had something funny.
In the book Fetch 22, whenever I read it this morning, well, some of the words, I read a sentence that said, I told you Flippy was a good guy, and I thought it was like the show Flippy.
Oh, like Flipper the dolphin?
No, like,
Or is there's a show?
it was Blippy, but it was,
Oh, Blippy.
I thought they watched Blippy.
No Blippy in these books, is there?
No.
So, Grant, do you remember anything more about the adventure with the hot dog robots?
Yeah. Dogman got up and went to the park and got all the dogs, and he defeated them by getting all the dogs over it, and they just ate the hot dog robot.
Okay, good. So guys, a couple of the things that I want to say I love, and this happens like in all the books that Dogman does. One is, a lot of times during his investigations into a crime or something, someone will hand him a piece of paper, either a picture or a list of details or something like that. And of course, what does Dogman do whenever somebody hands him a piece of paper?
Yeah,
He eats
it.
it.
Yeah, he eats it.
Yeah.
So not good at handling evidence.
Yeah.
And something else that always kind of cracks me up is whenever Dogman comes back to the police station and he is so excited to see the chief, what happens?
He knocks down the door and licks his face off and knocks over his chair as well.
Jumping on it.
Yeah, so Dogman really does, like, he'll pounce on top of Chief like dogs do. He always is licking on somebody's face. And so there's something else too where like someone will put out their hands to shake hand with Dogman and he'll just like lean down and lick their hand.
It's kind of like what he does when he's rolling in dead fish.
Okay, tell me about that.
Well, I remember in a lot of the books, he's supposed to be doing something serious, and then they just find him rolling in dead fish, and they're like, "Dogman, what are you doing?"
That's a pretty classic dog thing to do, isn't it? Okay, tell me about the Fliporama pages, because all of the books that I've read or looked at have Fliporama pages in them, don't they?
Yep.
Garrett, you had your hand up. What'd you want to say?
Oh, I was gonna talk about it.
Well, do it, man.
I think they're actually pretty fun. I mean, they're cool. Like, I haven't seen, like, any other books besides, like, other books created by Dav Pilkey that have, like, fliporamas.
So what are the Fliporama pages?
They are these things where, like, you grab the corner of the page and you flip it back and forth, and it'll look like an animation, like it's actually moving.
That's right. So you've got some images on the right-hand side of your open page on one page, and then if you were to turn the next page, you've got just a blank page on the left, and on the right, you've got those same images, except in a little bit of a different position. And so if you hold them and you flip those pages back and forth real fast, what'll it look like?
It'll look like Dogman licking Chief or something rapidly. Mm-hmm. And another thing, when you said about the blank pages, my bad. They aren't actually blank. They have a few words saying like lick lick lap lap or something like that.
Oh, okay. There'll be something on those pages.
Yeah.
Something.
Okay.
Pretty much blank.
Something I think is super cool is that at the end of each of these books, and Gracie, maybe you can tell me about this, they will have several pages where there are step-by-step instructions for how to draw the characters that are in that book. Is that right?
Yes. Today I drew all the characters that were in that book.
Oh, you did? Well, Gillian, what characters did you draw?
I drew a little dog, I drew little Petey, I drew Dogman, and I drew that tadpole Molly, and I drew that tree.
Barky McTreeface.
Yeah.
Okay. Barky McTreeface is his name?
They made a whole song about it in the book.
Barky McTreeface.
Like the tune of Frosty the Snowman.
Okay, that's fun. That's fun. Gracie, have you ever done that? Gone in and drawn some of the characters after finishing the book?
I feel like I have drawn one or two of the drawings, or on the how-to drawings at the back of the book. But yeah, they basically do it for every character there is in the book.
That's pretty cool.
Not all of them, but a lot of them, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the characters. And sometimes, like, there are some creative characters in these books. Sometimes there's of course, we talked about the buildings that have big arm muscles and run around town. We've also got, like, some characters that look like a taco that show up once in a while. There have been, you mentioned hot dog robots.
Philly the Gyro.
Oh, that's right, Philly the Euro. Now, some of you guys brought some of your Dogman books with you today. And I picked up Dogman and Cat Kid from our shelf. And I think Garrett has all of them except the new one. And I'll tell you what, Garrett, I was thinking about getting you that new book for Christmas. And then I thought, I think Garrett has outgrown Dogman books because you've really gotten more into reading some manga, reading One Piece. and you haven't talked about Dogman as much lately, although you've loved him for years. But then I found out that you actually were interested in that book, weren't you?
Kind of. I mean, like, I've kind of outgrown it, but, like, still, I like it. I like to talk about it and stuff. It's just, like, I've kind of outgrown reading the books. I don't get, plus there's so many that I just don't get the same thrill I did when I was like, 5 years old in first grade, second semester, where I would just read them all day, nothing else.
Read them over and over again.
Yeah.
And those were some of the books you learned to read on, right? My memory is that the Dogman books and some of the Minecraft graphic novels were some of the books that you really kind of helped taught yourself to read on. I mean, of course, you were learning in school with different books, but we'd be in the car on the way to school or on the way to church or do errands or whatever, and you'd sit in the back seat and you would read those books to me, and I always thought that was cool.
Yep.
Does anybody else have anything they want to say as we wrap up? Go ahead, Grant.
I like how Dogman and Chief have a good relationship, how Dogman's always looking at Chief's face, but in that one book, they're sleeping in that chair, and then the guy busts in, and then Chief gets mad at him, like, we're doing important cop business.
Yeah, I remember that.
I like that Dogman is always nice to little Petey.
Yeah, Dogman's relationship with little Petey is very sweet. Garrett was telling me on the way here, I guess I didn't read far enough into the series to realize this, but even though Petey initially rejected Lil Petey because Petey was wanting like an adult clone of himself to be evil, and what he ended up getting was a sweet little kitten, that in the end, Petey kind of came around and really wants to have a good relationship with Lil Petey. Is that right?
Yeah, it kind of started in Mothering Heights that he started to actually start, like, loving him.
Oh, well, that's sweet.
Hoping in the movie the little dog will be in it. Yeah, Zuzu.
Yeah, so, and Gillian, I'm really glad you brought that up because we haven't really talked about Zuzu. Zuzu is a little dog, but not, like, doesn't talk and stuff, right?
Say she's about, like, medium size.
Okay.
She's about the size of a chihuahua, I think.
Okay, and is Zuzu Dogman's pet?
No, she's Sarah Hadoff's little companion. She normally rides around in Sarah's purse, and like if she like sees a robber or something, she'll like growl and bark at it like a chihuahua would.
Okay.
Like she has the temper of a chihuahua if she wants it. Otherwise, she's really cute and nice.
Okay.
Zuzu's like a mini poodle or something like that, since they have like the fluff.
She has fluff on her tail.
Yeah.
Okay, but she's pretty. I mean, small enough she could fit in a purse.
Yeah.
Well, that's fun. Well, let me ask this question next, and then we're going to have to wrap up. What snacks are we going to get at the movie?
Popcorn.
Candy.
What kind of candy, Garrett?
Sour Patch Kids and stuff.
Okay, and definitely popcorn.
Children, Grant.
Dr. Pepper.
Popcorn.
Ooh,
Fruit
Dr.
punch.
Pepper, okay.
I mean, I just want a sugar crash.
Oh, yes. Sour Patch
honest.
Kids, not children.
Okay. Hey, guys, thank you so much for being on this episode with me today. I'm hoping that after we get done, we can get together and just talk a little bit about how the movie was, what we thought of it afterward. Like maybe we could just do that recording in the parking lot after the movie or something.
Okay.
But we're going to go collect your dads, except Garrett, your dad's already here.
Yeah.
And we are going to go down and see the movie. And friends, I will check back in with all of you before we wrap up this episode in just a minute. And we are back now after having just seen the movie Dogman. We've got our whole crew back at the table. And we got a couple of my favorite dads here to join us as well. We've got our first returning guest to the podcast, Mr. Parrish Pollard.
Hello, hello.
And we've got my good buddy Seth Boren, who will be our guest next week on the podcast also.
All right.
Okay. So, gang, and also, I should say, we've got Gracie's little sister, Sophie, joining us too, because she wasn't here with us for the first part of the podcast, but she was with us to see the movie. Hi, Sophie.
Hi.
Hi. Sophie, how old are you?
4.
4 years old. Okay.
And with my birthday, I'm going to be there.
Oh, on your birthday, you're going to be 5.
Yep.
Awesome.
Like my sister.
Okay. Hey, so to all of our listeners, we are going to have some spoilers now as we talk about the movie. We're not going to just go through the whole plot of it or anything, but we're not going to hold back on the different parts we want to talk about. So if you haven't seen it yet, maybe this is your good time to turn your episode off. Maybe listen to another episode of the graphic novel Apostle, and then come back after you've seen the movie. Okay, to my kids' table over here. What did you guys think of this movie?
I
great. It was
loved it.
Okay, Garrett says he loved it. Grant, what were you saying?
It was better than I thought it was going to be.
Oh, really? What about you, Van?
It was great.
Okay, Gracie?
It was really good.
Yeah, Gillian?
I'd say what Grant said.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're with your brother on this one. Sophie, what about you? Did you like this movie? Why didn't you say out loud? You got a very cute smile and a big nod, but why don't you say it out loud? No, she doesn't want to. Well, hey, that's okay. Sophie, we will take your nod as saying you're good with that too. And what about the dads, Mr. Parrish and Mr. Seth? What did you guys think of this movie?
Oh, I thought it was cute. I enjoyed it.
Parrish?
Yeah, I laughed a lot more than I thought I would. I didn't know what to expect, but it was funny. I was laughing out loud a lot, actually.
So, man, I laughed through the whole thing. I really, really did. This was excellent. Parrish and Seth weren't in the room when we were recording earlier today, when we were talking about the Dogman books, but a lot of those characters we talked about, and a lot of some of the adventures that we talked about got incorporated into the movie one way or another, right? Who were the characters aside from... let me ask this. Who was the star character of this movie?
Dogman.
Did you think so?
Yeah.
I mean, Dogman was awesome, but did anybody else think anybody else was kind of the star of the movie?
Well,
Petey.
Yeah, Petey too, and Little
Chief.
Petey.
Well, so Petey and the Chief, they both had big roles. I think Little Petey was really the star of the show, wasn't he?
That's true.
Kind
Now
of.
that I think about it.
And he never appeared in his superhero costume as Cat Kid.
Sadly, yes.
Sadly, yes, but they went on a really fun adventure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what characters were the most like you recognized them from the books, and how were any of them different from the books?
The Ooga Booga One of Us buildings.
That's right. And you know what? I was saying Ooga Booga earlier when we talked about it, but it was Gooba Gaba, right, that they say?
Yeah.
Yeah, so one of the buildings got covered in living spray, and it was in fact the factory where they were making living spray,
Yeah.
which also helped to bring which character back to life?
Petey.
No!
I mean, my bad, Flippy.
Flippy, and he wasn't just Flippy the dead fish at this point. He was Mecha Flippy the dead fish. And then he was covered in living spray, and he was kind of a terror after that.
I actually like this one building that was not actually in the comic.
Okay.
It was like this party building
Yes.
that
Yeah.
when it got became living. It only wanted to party, not destroy things. And
That's
another
right.
thing is that how the living spray factory actually became living was there was a living spray leak inside the factory, and then it got all over the factory. The factory turned.
That's exactly right. Exactly right.
I like the building that he likes.
Yeah, it had the lasers. So what did you guys think of Petey in this movie? Because he didn't come across as exactly the just horrible bad guy all the time that we were expecting.
Yeah.
He saved little Petey.
Yeah, I mean, he ended up showing a good side, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he turned out to be different than I thought he was.
Yeah, I thought he was a bad person, but he's not.
Well, one of the things we talked about earlier from the books is that first Petey rejected little Petey because he wanted an adult, mean, evil clone of himself, and he ended up getting like a little kitty who was sweet. But you guys told me about this earlier, that from the books, eventually, Petey came to love little Petey. And
Yeah.
it really kind of happened fast in this book.
I think they threw together all of the books in a mix, besides the super new ones like Big Jim Joins the Crew or whatever it's called, and also the Scarlet Shredder and the Bark Knight or whatever it's called.
Yeah. Hey, one of the things that happened during this movie was that Petey invented a tank of one kind to try and take out Dogman. And it was a tank that shot squirrel grenades that exploded.
Yeah, they had squirrel faces and stuff painted on them.
Yeah, they were just giant cannonballs for a pirate ship loaded into a tank, but with squirrel faces painted on them.
Okay.
The tank looked like a
Now,
The Dogman would chase.
were those in any of the? Was that machine in any of the Dogman books?
Yes, it actually was.
I think that the
Yeah, I think it was.
I don't remember it.
I think that the
I'm pretty sure it was.
I don't remember any of those machines except for the bee thing being in them.
Okay, yeah, the
those
bee machine.
things
There
were
was-
bombs, and they just put like squirrel faces on it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty much what they were.
Let me ask Mr. Parrish, what was your favorite thing in this movie?
The one that made me laugh the most was actually the chief.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why he was cracking me up. I don't know who the character, the actor was that was playing him.
Lil Rel Howery, he was a comedian who was on that show. Oh man, it was the stand-up comic show that like Jay Moore used to host, a competition show. Anyway, he's a comedian who's been around forever. He is hilarious, and yeah, he played the chief so well in this.
Yeah, the chief. I mean, that's where, especially at the beginning, the chief had a lot bigger of a role.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was killing me.
Well, and I'll tell you. Oh, Last Comic Standing. That was the name of that
Yeah,
show.
that's right.
Mr. Seth, what did you like about this movie?
The thing that I laughed at myself about was how long it took me to catch on with ADHD.
Yes,
robot.
the robot 80 HD.
So they're all of the little puns
Yeah,
throughout the whole movie made me giggle.
lots of those for
Yeah,
sure.
it's kind of the classic, like our generation, like the Muppets.
Yes.
Like there's funny, and then there's like another level of funny. You know.
You know, I was talking to my coworker David the other day about this, and he has kids about the same age as most of the kids here in this group. And he was making that comment as well, that he's read those Dogman books to his kids at night. And it's a kind of humor that you can appreciate on both a grown-up level and on a kid level, which is awesome. Now, very few of our recording sessions have featured a dancer who has come in and spun around in circles for us. But we've got a genuine talent act by Sophie going on here. Sophie, thank you for the side entertainment while we're recording.
And I needed something else.
Well, why don't you come closer to the microphone and tell us?
I think with my daddy, I want to go to the block thing to build a big tower with daddy.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe we can talk about that later, all right?
So can we go now?
No, not now. I think we've had a pretty big adventure for today already. Well, guys, let's go ahead and wrap this up here. Does anyone else have anything they want to say about the movie?
My favorite part of the movie was whenever they had to squeeze out its behind.
Oh, yes. Yeah, they got stuck inside of a building, a living building, and was that?
Wasn't it the giant mailbox thing?
Oh, it was the giant mailbox guy, yes.
So they ended up getting like locked inside of the giant mecha mailbox
Okay.
guy. So they had to find a vent and they crawled out and they somehow ended up climbing out of his behind.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
I thought it was an arm muscle.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was an arm muscle.
Well, I suppose it could be whatever you want it to be. Well, guys, hey, I want to thank all of you. So Van, Grant, Garrett, Gillian, Gracie, even Sophie joining us now, and Mr. Parrish and Mr. Seth. I want to thank all of you guys for talking with us today about Dogman. I'm so glad we all got to go see this movie together. It was a ton of fun. For all of our listeners out there, check out this movie. It was so fun, and these books are terrific. They're good for kids to learn when they're learning to read, and they are so fun for parents too. Come back with us next week, where we will have my buddy here, Seth Boren, on, and we will talk about the book Moonshine by Brian Azzarello with art by Eduardo Riso. And if this is your first time to listen to us, check out one of our book club episodes. You could certainly check out Mr. Parrish's episode where we talked about the book Bone Parish, Volume 1. And if you've got any feedback for us, shoot me an email at graphicnovelapostle@gmail.com. Also, we'll have some samples of the art from the Dogman books up on our Instagram page at Graphic Novel Apostle, which is what we do on every episode, so you get a little sense of what the art from the books looks like. I will look forward to having all of you back here with me next week for our podcast, and until then, keep reading those comics.